Welcome everybody. Welcome to another community fit. I got Bob. Bob the dog is right over here. He'll be making a special appearance. There's his paw. He's super needy today. Welcome to Community Fit, and in particular, a midweek desk stretch. Come on over here, Bob. Come on over. He's like, no thanks. Just outside of camera shot. Welcome to midweek desk stretch. I'm your host, James, and any requests? Any last requests? So far, we've got some requests for shoulders, but we will open it up. I'm looking over at the chat to see if any last requests come in. We've got, like I said, a couple of shoulder requests going once, going twice. Wrists, love it. We never get wrists. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to do a shoulder to wrist to hand, up to neck sort of thing today. Hey, Bob, I got to go to work now. I got to go to work now. Oh, there he is. Okay, for everyone who wants to see Bob, there's Bob. Hi, Bob. Just because I know we're going to get asked. Okay, one little quick adjustment. There we go. Okay, so as always, we are going to get started with our nervous system work because nervous system work is what? It's the key to everything. So we're going to get started with some nervous system work. If you're like, I have no idea what nervous system work is, don't worry, we'll walk you through it. But if you have a nervous system practice, please feel free to do that at the beginning of the class to get yourself grounded, to get yourself ready, to, collect yourself. Just as a reminder, there is no class this Friday. So no class on Friday. Everyone take it off. Everyone go outside, go for a walk, take care of your nervous system that way. We'll be back next week with our regular schedule, both Wednesday and Friday. But again, no class on Friday. For today, we're going to get started with our nervous system work, and then we're going to go right into our midweek desk stretch. Most of the class will be done, well, probably with what we're doing today, probably a lot of the class is going to be done seated in a chair. So find yourself a chair to get comfy in, and this is what we're going to do today. Okay, so again, if you have a nervous system prep thing you like to do, by all means, go ahead and do that. I will guide the rest of us through my practice for today. Bob, what should we do today? You got it. Bob said we should start off with a little bit of breathing. So we're going to go ahead and get started with breathing. Most simple version of like a calming, centering breathwork technique is going to be, hello, mister, is going to be just to do a long, exaggerated exhalation. So everyone is going to take in an inhale and an exaggerated exhale. Right, Bob? Inhale, long, exaggerated exhale. If you look, you can just see like his little snout just on screen there. Oh, hi, hi, hi. Short little inhale. Exaggerated exhale. Good job, Bob. Yeah, get comfy. If you'd like a little bit more, which is what I'm feeling like I need, we're going to go into physiological sigh. It's a double inhale, big inhale, full inhalation, exaggerated, single exaggerated exhalation. Double inhale, single exhale. Again, two inhales, single exhale. One more. And then I'm going to finish off today with like a little bit of a tapping situation. So you can either do like a fist, you can do a cup, you can do fingertips, you can do just sort of an open hand, but it's just on your chest bone here, just like a little bit of a tap. You might even want to couple this with some breath work. Nothing to make you feel self-conscious like judgy dog eyes. Two more. Good. If it feels like your nervous system needs a little bit more, by all means, continue to do that. And if you're like, I don't even know what that would feel like, if you're not feeling present, if you're not feeling grounded, if you're still thinking about all the stuff you need to do, if you're feeling out of your body, continue maybe with the breath work. That might be the best thing you can do for yourself today. For the rest of us, according to the chat, according to the request for today, we're going to have a primarily shoulder to wrist focus, but that's all going to start up in the jaw, up in the neck, right? So a little bit about shoulder, some things to consider when we're talking shoulders in particular. Your shoulders are guided like shoulder proper, right? Is guided, influenced by how well or not well your collarbone is moving, right? It's not necessarily what's going on here. It's not even the shoulder blade. It's really collarbone movement, which is influenced by shoulder blade movement, pec, and actually quite a bit of neck and jaw. So that's where we're going to start. Also, if you are someone who tends to have a lot of shoulder stuff, just making sure to get your arms above your head more often is going to be really, really helpful. And that could be hanging exercises. It doesn't even have to be a pull up. It can literally be finding, like, next time you're on a walk, look for a tree branch that you can just reach up and kind of like grab a hold of and just kind of like dangle there. Whether your feet are all the way off the ground or you kind of buckle your knees a bit and stretch, a doorway, anything like that is going to be really helpful. Also, if you have chronic shoulder stuff, the more you strengthen pull down exercises, so lat pulls, pull ups, anything like that, where I'm taking and I'm pulling, right? It can be a TheraBand, it can be at the gym like a lat pull, it can be a pull up, and that's different than the dangling exercise, right? They are mutually exclusive. So we have the dangling stretching thing, but then we have like a strengthening thing because most of your shoulder muscles are actually below the shoulder line, right? It's not up here. It's not your itty bitty little tiny deltoids. It's like your pecs, it's your lats, it's your trapezius muscles. So getting those a little stronger, a little smarter, lots and lots of bang for your buck. Now, for today, let's tackle it from a slightly different perspective. Let's bring our hands together. We're going to get them all warmed up. We're going to take our nice warm hands and we're going to place them onto the jaw. We're just going to kind of push in, maybe even like a little circle action here. That feels good or important, stay there. Or it's kind of massage the totality of the jaw, even below it. Now, here in a bit, we're going to actually do some kind of funny looking stuff because a lot of what's going on in the jaw and the throat is actually coming from your tongue. I know. So we got to do some tongue exercises. Simplest version is going to be to stick out your tongue, right? You might want to think, can the tongue touch the bottom of my chin here? And even if you can't do it, right? Even if you're like, there's no way, attempt to have your tongue touch your nose and then the chin and then the nose. One more of each. Now, if those are hard for you, maybe continue to do that. Or you can draw a circle with your tongue, with your mouth closed, right? So my tongue is going to draw a circle inside of my mouth, right? It's going to try to touch, it's going to cover the top teeth. Go, this is my left, down, and then reverse it. And then relax. From there, we're going to do our little guppy breaths. Now, a guppy breath doesn't necessarily require you to do a breath. It's just a gentle opening and closing of the jaw. What we're looking for here is not how big or fast you can do it, but can you feel where your jaw starts to get a little tense? And if it starts to get a little tense here, go like a millimeter more and then close. Next time, it should be a little more space, a little more mobility in the jaw, and we're just going to keep going. It's going to look a lot like this. Really not cinematic, right? Like no one's going to buy a ticket to the Guppy show, but it's relaxing some of the tension in the jaw, right? It's not a big dynamic movement at all. It's actually quite small. 30 seconds, Guppy breath, starting now. One more. Good. Notice any differences that you might feel. Now, let's go to the throat. We're going to take our hands, warm them up again. Big, heavy right hand goes on the left side of the throat. Big, heavy hand draws to middle as I twist to look over my left shoulder. Left hand, right side of your throat. Big, heavy hand draws to middle as I twist to look over right shoulder. Big, heavy hand. Big, heavy hand. One more each side. Big, heavy hand. And last one over here. Big, heavy hand. Just take, you've got a muscle, sternocleidoid mastoid, that runs from kind of the back of the skull all the way and holds onto the front aspect where it comes together, front aspect here of your collarbone. And it kind of runs like this, like at a diagonal, right? I find it best, like this is my right throat area, to take my left hand, just kind of massage it a bit. And I want to just kind of, maybe we're taking inspiration from Bob the dog here. We're just kind of leaning into that, right? Like, how do we kind of soften that a bit? You're going to find if you keep your head up, it gets kind of taut and firm, but leaning into it will just allow it to soften a bit. And then we're going to take that left hand, now it's on my collarbone, and I'm just going to massage the actual bone itself. And I'm just taking and kind of pushing into it on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm pushing into it at about a 3 or a 4. So it's not absent of pressure, but it's not deep pressure. I can even take the heel of my hand and kind of get in here a bit. And then I'm going to just take and tap that bone. And I'm going to go above the bone and below it. And then just take a moment and notice any differences between the side you just worked on and the other side. and see if you can language it a little bit. For me, I notice this side feels like it's sunk down and a little wider. This side, it feels especially tense in the front of the shoulder, like everything's just kind of pulled up a bit. So I'm going to do the other side now. Just going to take, kind of lean into that a bit. The side feels like a little more reluctant to let go. So I'm just going to kind of slump into it, right? Like I'm just relaxing a bit. And then I'm going to work my way to that collarbone. And then I'm going to do a little tap above, below, on it. Take a moment and notice any differences. Then go back to the first side you worked, right? So for me, it was my right side. I'm going to place my hand on the collarbone and I'm just like relaxed in that hand. And then I'm going to move the collarbone underneath the hand, right? I'm not doing from the outside, it could probably look a lot like I'm moving my shoulder, or I'm thinking about moving my shoulder. And while that is partially true, what I'm really embodying, being ultra aware of, is the collarbone underneath my hand. And for me right now, I notice I'm getting a lot of movement from this aspect or the outer aspect of the collarbone. But the collarbone, when it meets together, like right here, doesn't feel like it's getting a lot of movement. So I'm going to really concentrate on like getting some movement in that front middle portion. And then I'm going to take my free hand and I'm going to just place it underneath the armpit. That's it. Just kind of letting the warmth of the hand, the awareness of that hand inform or talk to all of the nerves in the armpit. That armpit has so much like intelligence to it. There's a huge nerve complex in there, lymphatic system, lots of points where muscles meet. So just letting the body do its thing there. And then I'm going to take that hand and it's like I'm going to pull the pec muscle, right? Pull the pec muscle kind of away from the armpit. And I'm just going to move my arm a bit. It's like I'm liberating the muscle away from the bone. And release. Notice anything different between right and left side. And then let's go to the other side. Hand, collarbone moves. Just kind of free form, looking for movement. Again, I'm looking for that hand that's just resting to feel as if there's a bone moving underneath it. And then I'm going to slide the hand into the armpit and just relax. Just let the body do what it knows how to do. And then kind of pulling, like I'm pulling that pec muscle away. So I'm looking at the comments. Yeah, there was a comment that my collarbone was a little crunchy on the left-hand side. Right. The technical term for that would be, and it's an awful term, crepitus, right? Where it just feels crunchy and dehydrated. Suggestion might be to kind of slow down a little bit and really acknowledge where that is crunchy. And can I get it to go right to that crunchy portion? Kind of slow down and relax through it. It's essentially like dehydrated. Now, once I'm pulling away, I'm just going to do that arm movement. It's essentially like dehydrated soft tissue, specifically fascia, specifically like the connective tissue in there. And drinking more water isn't going to do it, right? It's like soft, subtle movement plus water, plus the collagen, plus all of the things. But sometimes it's just about kind of, mine does it on the left side too. It's just about kind of slowing down through there a little bit. It's not hurting anything. It's just like, ugh, right? And then releasing and relaxing. From there, let's actually work with a little bit of that fascia, right? And we're not going to work with it necessarily in the shoulders. We're going to work with it in the shoulder girdle, meaning all of this area. Reach your right arm out, right hand goes onto left shoulder. From there, left hand grabs a hold of right elbow. You can see both elbows are at relatively the same height. Now, I'm not going to lift this elbow, but it's like this hand is going to tighten, screw in, make a little taut the tissue over in this right shoulder, right? So there's it's like a grip to hold on, right? Both elbows get pushed forward. You sit up a little taller. Your head goes nowhere, but both elbows go to the left. Couple of breaths. Keep pushing your elbows away from your neckline. Back to center. Same grip, same thing, other side. Head looks forward. Elbows are pushing. And center, relax. Let's do the same process the other way, meaning left arm reaches out, left hand onto right shoulder, right arm reaches out, right hand grabs a hold. It's like I'm screwing it in. Elbows push forward. I'm first going to twist whichever way, makes no difference, and do a couple of breaths. I'm like really pressing my elbows away from my body. Forward, other direction. Forward, relax, just a little gentle shoulder roll. Lastly, both hands grab a hold of the opposite wrist and they tug or pull away from each other. And you'll probably feel that contraction between the two shoulder blades. And relax. One more. Tug and relax. Switch the grip. Same thing. Relax. One more. Switch or pull. And relax. Just a little movement. Now, a lot of the shoulder and neck stuff is coming from like unaddressed tension, anxiousness, nervous energy down in the legs. So, quick maneuver there. Just going to take, and you can kind of see that the legs are like nervous, like just bouncing, right? And I'm really just pressing them against the floor. And then ah, just do like a little sway. One more of those, like restless, nervous legs. almost like you're running in place, right? I'm sitting and I'm running. I'm trying to get away, trying to get away, trying to get away, trying to get away. Ooh, relax and just do a little sway. If you wanted to follow that up with some like arm reaches or shakes, have at it. I want to spend a little time talking about wrists. So, just like a lot of our shoulder stuff is coming from not getting arms above our head or doing pulling exercises enough, most of our wrist stuff is actually coming from elbow stuff. So, I'm going to use my right hand and I'm just going to take and kind of like massage or palpate the forearm. And I'm going to notice what area feels tense. Undoubtedly, if this is the pit of my elbow, if I go right here, right, where there's that meaty area, and I kind of work in here a bit, and especially if I find something tense, right, or important, and then I flip my palm, supination, pronation, I'm going to notice that there's probably some tightness in there or pain signals in there. So I'm just going to take and lightly kind of massage that. And then I can go. It's kind of hard to, there's so much mobility in that forearm there. But I'm going to take and trace that all the way down to like thumb middle of the palm, right? Somewhere in there is probably also more tension, more like crud or griminess or congestion. I'm going to hold wherever that is, just kind of press into it, palm open, and just kind of flip. Wrist stuff is so hard because there are so many bones, so many rotational points in that area. Number one, it's just about getting the inflammation down, right? So sometimes heat, sometimes ice, doing this sort of a motion, because again, so much of the wrist stuff is actually coming from elbow stuff. And elbow, because these two bones, the radius and the ulna, are not rotating around each other well. They're kind of stuck somewhere. And when they get stuck somewhere, then the little wrist bones have to do too much work. And then I can just take and kind of hold the wrist, and I'm just going to open and close. Another major culprit is going to be this area of the thumb. It's kind of like the palm of the thumb. So I can take and just kind of massage in there a little bit, like this. And then some like finger flicks. Finger flicks are great because we do a lot of flexion in the wrist, holding on to stuff, typing, gripping, and we don't do enough extension, right? Really strengthening the back of the hands. So flexion and extension are important, and we don't get enough extension. So finger flicks, like really flicking, like tire out the top of your hand, and then like a little shake, and just notice. Then we can do the other side, and I'm going to speed up this side because I want to end with a few like finger exercises. Just kind of getting in there, working, massaging, releasing some of that elbow tension, forearm tension. Getting into the wrist, working through the thumb area. And again, like I said, I'm speeding through this side. With the expectation that if you've got wrist things going on, you can revisit some of these exercises. And then finger flicks. Now, one of the best exercises, especially if you've got wrist stuff because of the thumb, is going to be and I'm trying to use my shirt as like a backdrop here, is a thumbs up exercise, right? If your thumb up looks like this, right, it's kind of pointing forward and doesn't have this action, think this will be the best, right? Here's what we're gonna do. It's like a thumb up, and I'm really trying to do that thumb up, and then I'm gonna pull my fingers back like this. So you saw it, it's like this, and then release. So there's a thumb up, and then I really try to pull. Again, extension, thumb up, pull. Other side. There's a thumb up. I had some stuff going on here yesterday, so maybe we'll see. Yeah, way harder for me to organize on this side. There's a thumb up and a movement and a thumb up and a pull. Lastly, it's just some like flamenco hands, right? Loose, relaxed movement. And then shake it all out. So, homework would be whatever felt important for you today. Hopefully, you learned something new about your body. I'll stick around for whatever questions you might have. And before anyone asks, he's asleep now. I know, you're asleep. Go back to sleep. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. Reminder, there is no class on Friday, but we will see you next week, regular schedule. Thank you so much. Looks like we got a question. Eloise, I hope you found out what you needed on the video. Unfortunately, I can't answer questions when I'm teaching. So hopefully, Eloise, you were able to get the video that you needed there. Cool. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Bye.